Going to be hard pressed to find companies that don't follow an ESG strategy. Now, that doesn't mean that they're woke necessarily or that they're not biblically responsible, because they certainly would not be on our buy list if they were not biblically responsible. So the kind of the history on that is that, the hardcore left has really pushed this climate change and ESG, and stands for environmental, social, and governance issues. So there's organizations that have assigned all of these corporations ESG scores, and they use that kind of as a fear tactic to go to these companies and say, hey, if you don't get on board with our agenda, we're going to tell your customers and your investors that you're bigots because you don't support the LGBTQ movement. You don't have diversity, equity, and inclusion as we see that it should be run as part of your business model. And you're polluting the earth, or you're doing this or doing that or whatever. So, ESG is really starting to lose a lot of steam, and so is the whole DEI agenda, especially as this election cycle ramps up. So, Ron DeSantis has been very hardcore coming out against these ESG companies and the DEI policies. Another Republican person, I guess, who hopes to be the nominee, which is Vivek. And, he runs an anti-ESG fund, ETF. So that really kind of goes against the grain there. So we're seeing a lot of pushback on ESG and DEI, but just because a company has policies doesn't mean that they're not biblically responsible. So their DEI policy could just simply say, we believe that all men are created equal and that people shouldn't be judged by the color of their skin, but rather on the content of their character. They shouldn't be judged on their, in the workplace, based on their sexual orientation or so on and so forth. And you know what? That's really pretty scriptural. We shouldn't be judging other people. We should not be afraid, and we should not have to be in an environment where we're afraid to say what we believe is right and wrong. But we're not in the business of attacking other people. As Christians, we just don't do that. We're called to love other people. We're called to love people and hate sin, because sin hurts God's kids. So just because they have an ESG policy or even a DEI policy doesn't mean that they're not biblically responsible.